On episode 29 of Convergence, Brendan kicks the canoe calorie knowledge. I talk about my Vision and not my Vision Pro, and Brendan takes me on a virtual tour of the NFT Museum. This room is echoier. It is more reverberant than it has been previously because
the carpets are gone.
Yeah, there is a thin layer. It's not just the carpet. There is a thin layer of lino between my feet and bare ass concrete now, whereas before there were like tiles, different tiles, and then underlay and stuff before you hit carpet. And so yeah, it's quite a significant change. So I am probably going to need, and then hopefully tomorrow I can close this door because we're fitting the cat portal.
Nice.
And then we'll get a real sense of what it sounds like. And I'm probably going to have to... I'm thinking, as I stretch my arms out either side of me, that that's where I'll need to put my, some sound dampening foam. And then behind me is going to be a load of shelving with, books and trinkets and stuff like that.
Nice. I like that.
So... hopefully that'll do a good job.
You still getting that neon sign?
No, there's not going to be room for it now that I decided I thought shelving would be a better option. And it's probably the way to go because I know me, like I can't be wedded to one phrase, I can't be tied down to one
Oh
slogan.
yeah, no, it has to be a board that you can change the lettering on or or an LCD screen that you can update constantly.
I have been considering that. Yeah, I was looking at can I get a Raspberry Pi and a simple LED? So one of the things I was looking at was it a Mac? Because I wanted to get like a tiny 1984 Macintosh, like an original Mac, but like a smaller size. And I think I've seen one that is a Raspberry Pi case. There's another one that's an iPad mini case, I think. And so, but the Raspberry Pi one, it's a bit of a kit, so that'd be a bit of a project. And so I think if I bought the right sort of LCD? Yeah, I think it'd be LCD screen, like a display that would plug into a Raspberry Pi, that would all go inside this case, and you would have an ersatz little Macintosh looking thing that I could put little messages on.
That's pretty cool.
I quite like that idea.
Or you could get a Light Bright.
Is that? Oh, hello.
It's a child's toy.
Oh, cool. Okay.
It has like a light on the inside and then a little pegboard, and you just put in little plastic pieces that
look at that.
Then it illuminates and makes a thing. And I think maybe there's like a little trap door on each little peg hole, maybe, and that's what allows the light to come in to that specific little piece of plastic. And they're super cool. I had one as a kid. I really liked it a lot.
I could go for something like an Etch-a-Sketch, or a Magnadoodle. The Magnadoodles were better.
I'm not familiar with the Magnadoodle.
So the Etch-a-Sketch, if I remember rightly, was just the two. I might have this wrong, but I feel like it was just the two knobs, and so you could kind of go
up and down and left and right.
I could only ever really figure out how to draw basically squares with an Etch-a-Sketch, whereas the Magnadoodle it had a little pen, and so you could just draw on it, and then it had a scraper thing that would then scrape off the e-ink or whatever it was, the magnetic display thing. It's kind of magic. And also, they work underwater, I think.
That makes sense.
Because there's no gravity.
Yeah, it's all internal.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I remember. I think I remember researching that discovering that when I did an episode of List Envy. In fact, the first one. The first one that went out, which was Top 5 Childhood Toys, with She Who Shall Not Be Named. That was, I think I discovered there that there's you can use it in space.
Oh, interesting.
Because there's no because there's no ink, there's no gravity to make the ink a problem.
Oh, arbitration update. There's no news. They've I don't even have I don't even have a delayed notification now. It's just past due. So I'm
keeping calm,
doing fine with that, though. It's I'm so hungry all the time. I just want to eat.
Oh man,
and soothe.
Are you fasting?
No, but I need to do that again.
but you're just yeah.
No, I still have just my plans for my camping trip in late May. That's going to start the 21st. So I will I might start my fast like a day or two before that, and then just do the fast then. So now I'm getting in all my my off protocol foods before I do that. Just trying to scarf it all down. Oh my god.
I started my whole kick on Monday.
How's that going so far?
And it's good. It's good. It's so. What's funny is I use LifeSum, the app, as my kind of guide. I really like it. And so it does all the tracking and the food tracking and all that stuff. I've turned off the ability to count burned calories. I just wanted it. I wanted it to count exercise, like if I did intentional exercise, but not just the calories you burn by being alive. But I can't figure out. So it's just like no, it just doesn't track any calories now, which is fine. But I've got my macronutrients going on, and tracking my water, being very good about my water,
nice.
And also it has a thing for intermittent fasting.
Okay,
it's like primarily built into the app. But what's kind of interesting is it can start you off at a very easy one. So I'm just doing 12-12.
That's perfect. So that's a great way to start.
Not really fasting. It's just not eating after a certain amount of time.
Yeah,
which I know is what fasting is, but that's what exactly I mean. Like it's not quite. But that's good because yes, it is making my sort of midnight fridge raiding not a thing. That's not happening because there is an intention. Yeah.
So the macronutrients. That's awesome. That's really kind of important to making sure you're getting the right protein levels and fat levels. The calorie tracking, what I've been learning a lot lately, and this is coming from somebody who has, I for a brief period of time I tracked calories for like 2 months or whatever, like 10 years ago. But otherwise, I've never tracked calories and always kind of hated the idea of it. But what I've been learning lately is that like it's not the calories in, calories out model is completely bogus. Tracking calories is not really necessary or essential. One thing I learned really recently, which was fascinating, is that the amount of calories that you get from protein is less than what you think it is because it takes more energy to break down the protein than was initially suspected. So the amount of calories that a unit of protein, a unit of fat, and a unit of carbs, those were calculated about 100 years ago. Through the process of you take the same amount of raw food of each thing, and in one scenario you put it into this oven that burns it down into a char, and then you can measure how much is left from that to get the calories of the raw food, and then you feed that same amount of food to a person who has fasted, and then you take their poop and then you burn the poop down into nothing, and then you compare the two, and that's how they developed the calorie levels from different proteins. So this guy did this for like 20 years. And he would just take the same things and have a fasted person eat half of it and then burn their poop. And anyways, and so it would compare the before and after, and it would say like, oh, okay, well then the body used up or absorbed this amount of calories from it. And for carbs, it's like 95% accurate. For fats, it's like 80 to 90% accurate. And then for proteins, it's like 70% accurate, something like that. Anyways, so the model that we're all using is flawed for calories. So that's one aspect. And then another aspect is that like, it's not so simple that you eat a calorie of something and that turns into a calorie of movement or things like that. It's just way more complicated than that. And so, yeah, that's all.
But what it does is it gives you a number.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just gives you a thing that you can aim for. And yeah, I think it's like back when I used to work back in my sort of web agency days, I remember when Google Analytics came out, and this was this sort of amazing tool. You could put this little bit of JavaScript on your homepage or on all of your pages, and it would track, visitors and all sorts of stuff. And back then, it wasn't necessarily compulsory that in order for a web page to work, JavaScript would work. You used to be, it was completely normal to, well, not completely normal, like it was completely possible that you would disable JavaScript for all sorts of different reasons. And then Google Analytics would not track your visitation to that page. And so it's less accurate. But what you come to realize is what is more important is the delta. It's the number itself is not really important. It's the difference. It's how things grow and change over time, and having a number to aim for as not exactly arbitrary, but as like flawed, like you said, as it is. I think still has value in terms of giving you some guardrails, But yeah, when I did like full keto, they were like, "Yeah, don't worry about tracking calories. Just make sure you're meeting your other goals." And protein is harder to come by than that. Like that's the one that's like I'm doing my best, but man, just shoveling down tuna. But I'm so excited tonight. I'm making Hunter's chicken.
Ooh, what's Hunter's chicken?
Hunter's chicken. You might know it by the name chicken cacciatore.
Oh, I've heard that term,
which is the Italian name for the same thing, and I can't remember what the French is. I'm sure I'm making a bastardized version. In fact, like I think the kind of understood like pub grub version of Hunter's chicken is like a chicken breast, maybe butterflied, with like barbecue sauce and then a shitload of cheese.
Oh, yum!
So I'm not doing barbecue sauce, but I'm doing what do you call it? Some sort of like Napoleon tomatoes. So I've made up my little sort of tomato sauce thing with with herbs and chili and garlic and all the good stuff. And then I've butterflied my chicken breast, shoved a bunch of cheese up it, and then that'll go in the air fryer. And for the last couple of minutes, I'll throw a bunch more cheese at it. And there's your Hunter's chicken. I was so delighted today when I could not only have potatoes, but that the app was happy with me having potatoes. It gave me, because it has smiley face ratings for the different foods that you have based on how well they fit your goals.
Uh-huh.
And so you can go from, I think, red proper frowny face all the way through to green full grinning face.
Nice.
And there's faces in between. And potatoes was full grinning face. I was like, this is great. Its only thing, that marks it down is high in. Well, it says high in natural sugars with an X. The rest of it is like good source of. I can't remember what it is, but like potatoes have a good satiety index, which is good for me. I love potatoes, so I can have potatoes. I can have some kale, and I'll have my hunter's chicken, and I will be very happy with that.
Yummy. So is that dinner tonight?
That's yes.
Nice.
So as soon like I've already done some prep because I'm watching my fasting window because I want to make sure that I get my 12 hours in and I can have breakfast tomorrow morning. This is the dance we start going on.
It is. It gets easier too. It's like, okay, yeah, I don't eat past 6 or whatever. That was my time frame usually is 6 p.m.
Yeah.
But then I was getting to a pretty aggressive fasting window of like 18 or 20 or 24.
Yeah. Yep.
23 really, because when you get to one meal a day, they say it's a 24-hour fast. It's really like a 23-hour fast because you
have to actually have time to eat the food if you're going to eat the food.
You don't just swill it down in a millisecond. Not always. Yeah.
And then even then it's a 23.999. Anyway,
exactly.
Yeah, I was having the same thought yesterday. Like at some point I might gravitate to an 18-hour and skip breakfast or something.
That felt really good for me. I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
24 is fun. It's aggressive, but it's like interesting to do as an experiment. But it's not super. What's the term? Sustainable.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. And how's it feeling for you?
It's
been only a week, I guess.
Yeah, it's been 5 days. I mean, I've lost 4 pounds so far.
Nice.
But that's, that was always to be expected because that's just going to be a load of water weight, as they say.
As they say, whatever that means.
Yeah. So that'll go out. We'll see what happens on Monday when I actually do the official weigh-in. But I got curious because I'm in a group with my dad and my brother.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. And, my brother is telling us what to do kind of thing. It's weekly weigh-ins. So I will do my official weigh-in on Monday and see what has happened. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see what the weekend throws at me. I remember doing a thing a while back where I would store up. I think there was a way of doing this in Lifesum where you could store up calories for like a weekend or whatever days, and if you wanted a lower calorie day, because like one of those diets that they used to do is like what do they call it, the 3-2 diet or the 3-5 diet or something, where it was like you would pick 2 days out of the week where you would have like an insanely lower calorie intake, and it was basically just kind of eating enough to barely survive as a human being, and you do that 2 days a week, which is just no thank you.
Might as well just fast.
Might as well just fast. Yeah, because it's kind of just miserable otherwise. But yeah, there's like I kind of got into the idea of like borrowing calories to then spend over a weekend.
Yep.
Cheat day. Just shows you. I mean, it's again like that doesn't actually work from a biological perspective, but from a like a mental perspective, just that kind of thing, that kind of framework, I think helps, almost gamification kind of thing.
Yeah, depending on what you're eating, it does and it doesn't help. Like if you load up on sugar, then your liver is just going to get overloaded and then pump out a whole bunch of insulin and cause a whole bunch of bad downstream effects. So in that respect, no. If you're loading up on protein, then great. It's all depends on what you're eating. Yeah, if you want to have sweet things, it seems like it's better to have just a little bit, maybe spread out than a whole bunch all at once.
Yeah, I'm gonna want some sweety things at some point. I'm gonna want some chocolate or something like that, and so I'll figure out a way of. What I might do is I did some salt and vinegar chickpeas last week just as a little experiment in the air fryer. because you can do those real quick, whereas they take a lot longer in the oven. And in fact, actually, what I might even try playing with is my new air fryer has got a dehydrate function. So I'm wondering if I can properly dry out the chickpeas first, because that's what you're supposed to do, is like really, really dry them out. And I'm wondering whether that's going to like dry out the insides, or if it's just going to dry. I'll have to figure that out. But if I can get them really super dry, then they'll become really nice and crispy without being burnt. And then I could just like throw some cinnamon on there. Something else that would be sort of naturally sweet without it
vanilla
being, sugary. Ooh,
yeah. Nutmeg.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then my brother's got a whole thing about getting protein, because I've got protein shakes that I had from ages ago, and I'm like, oh wow, this hasn't been opened, and it's still good in terms of sell by date. So on those moments where I need some protein, it's like throw in some ice, chuck that in a blender with some fruit, and you got a thing going. I haven't done smoothies in ages. I bought a smoothie maker ages ago, and I got into my smoothies, like a bunch of kale and avocado and all those kinds of things, and yeah. There's all the options. But one of the things, and we should move on to something else, but one of the things that I'm kind of thinking is, like, I'm going to be out and about in May, towards the end of May, and I kind of want to figure out like the whole food situation there, and whether I just have some really like dense protein bar type things that I can carry with me rather than take food at the event.
Yeah. What's your event?
I'm at the Podcast Show London for 2 days. Yes. To be honest, that would give me quite a bit of relief from doing the whole figuring out how to get fed situation, because I don't like it. I never know what to do. The best one I've ever been to was an event I was at a couple of years ago, and they just gave everybody a packed lunch. Like, it was just, you take a bag, and it was brilliant. There was a bag for vegetarians and a bag for non-vegetarians, and you just took a bag, and it had a sandwich, and it had a bunch of other things in it, and it's just like, that's the way to do it. None of this like looking at all these mystery meats and mystery items, and don't touch that stuff because that's just for the vegetarians, and if you touch the vegetarian stuff, they'll be upset, rightly so, because you've got this whole other bunch of stuff that you can eat. And I'm like, I can't read any of the labels, so I don't know what anything is. I'm just picking stuff up and going, I guess I'll put that on my plate. Is that a spring roll, or is it a cake? I don't know. So it's just like, actually, if I've just got a bar or something with me that I can just munch on, take care of myself that way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I got a question for you.
Yes,
and feel free to let me know if this is too personal, or
the best kind of question
to cut it out or anything like that. But I'm curious. I have encountered a bunch of things coming at me lately about reversing blindness.
Huh.
Like, that was something that Ram Dass worked on a whole bunch with the Seva Foundation. I see these things pop up on Reddit, on YouTube, about people getting either surgeries or treatments or something that reverses or corrects their blindness from light vision from no vision, a bunch of different things. And I was just curious, because I have no idea what
what my whole deal is.
What your whole deal is. If any of these things are appropriate for that, if you have looked into it at all, and if it is even possible for you, like, is that something you would even want? Because you have your own life and you could be happy the way you are. I'm just kind of curious, just throwing that vague ball over there at you.
I will take your ball. Yeah. So what I have is something called optic nerve hypoplasia.
Okay. Sounds cool.
Yeah. I'd love a plasia, hypo or not. And what it basically means is an underdevelopment of the optic nerve. So all the sort of nerve endings and things that you need to see that obviously carry light, messages of light, I guess, from the pupil to the back of the brain. Anyway, yeah, well, through the pupil, all the way through to the back of the brain. I am missing quite a lot of those. So, like, I can't remember the numbers, but like, I might have a tenth in the right eye, a tenth of what you might have. And then in the left eye, it's like, I don't know, maybe 5%.
Okay, just 5.
Yeah, just 5. Just 5 nerve endings. They counted them. So yeah, because my left eye is basically useless. And so there is no at the moment, unless there is some kind of special surgery that can be done to add more optic nerves, or to take a bundle. I don't even know if you can take a bundle of nerves from someone else and put them in me. I don't think so. I heard ages ago about some sort of testing or some sort of trial that was being done, and there was something costing $10,000 or £10,000. But basically, I go and get my vision checked every 6 months, and they do a whole bunch of tests, and it's kind of like, I think with the conversations that we have, it's like, if anything were to come up, we'd have a chat about it.
Sure.
So yeah, and then in terms of like, would I? Yeah, I would. That would be very nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
I should like to be able to see more.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And I went through a stage of playing around with contact lenses. They had some effects. They were making certain things sharper. I do remember that, but that was like 20 years ago. But they were making some things sharper, and so they had some effect, but it never ended up being quite enough to justify shoving my fingers in my eyes every day.
Yeah. Margaret uses contacts, and it's unnerving. It's like whenever I get like sawdust and particles and stuff in my eyes pretty regularly because of the work I do. Because safety glasses are not fun to wear. They always hurt. I even got like I've got special pairs of like cushions around the whole thing, and they still, wearing them for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. They so much. And then a lot of safety glasses like kind of do like dust will get around them and then trapped between your glasses and your eyes, and then get in your eyes, and it's like, oh, I can't. So what was it? Oh yeah, because I touched my eyeballs, and I hate touching my eyes. I hate getting stuff out of them. All that. It's yeah.
You're not meant to. It's horrible. What you need is a Vision Pro. Basically, to do construction.
I need it for my work.
You need it for your work. To literally just turn on pass through. And then because they've got the light seal and everything, so like it should be like right on your face and nothing getting in, and then you can do your work, and then everybody can look at you through the weird ski goggle effect.
As long as that, maybe it also includes like a robot that does the actual, and like I just have like gloves or whatever, and I can articulate it from afar, and it does all the work for me.
Drone operated.
Yeah. I'll be the essential worker sitting off to the side and like on a couch.
Yeah, why go to the site at all when you can have your avatar do it?
Yeah. I'll just stay home. Then you go.
Yeah. So in the metaverse, when we're all fully in it, when we're all living in trailer parks with the caravans stacked on top of each other, like off of the book and the film, will there be a demand for construction workers who are effectively designing and building like Minecraft blocks of houses and and all those kinds of things?
They would likely all be automated,
but surely it still needs designing, because
the elites that have enough money to afford it will, but otherwise, I mean, there's probably gonna be a lot of not slave labor, but just people the
Fiverr.com.
Yeah, the menial manual labor of just getting people to do stuff, to just do stuff, but not necessarily. I don't know. I don't
think it'll be a problem for us. I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, I think so too. I think enough people are going to fight back against the metaverse. Personally, I think there's a lot of people don't want that.
No, there's a wonderful website that I came across. Someone told me about it anyway, which is called Web3 is go. What's it called? Web3 is going great. Yeah, Web3 is going just great. It's is what it's called. And then the subtitle is, and is definitely not an enormous grift that's pouring lighter fluid on our already smouldering planet.
Yeah.
This is created by Molly White, who might be I might now instantly have a low-level crush on. Partly because, so I put a thing on Mastodon this morning. I got grumpy about some stuff, and then I put another thing on Mastodon that was like, I want to start a thread or a something of what I'm describing as web-ass websites, which are like websites that are just built like handmade. They're not from Wix or Squarespace or whatever, and they're just like this idea I'm borrowing from The Verge, which Nilay Patel calls the last website on the internet, because like everything else is a blog or is an aggregator of something. And I just love the idea of a web-ass website. It's just like, whether it's for a podcast or a blog or like Daring Fireball is a web-ass website. And those kinds of things. I just think I like the idea that we champion those. It's not a Substack. It's not, whatever. It's a custom built web-ass website. And this one in particular, Web3 is going, it is Web3 is going great.com. Is like, it's proper custom stuff. And it's got, you can change it because it's very opinionated in terms of design. And typography and stuff, and you can change that if you want to make it easier to read. And it's just like, it's really well considered, and the layout on desktop on a grown-up computer is brilliant, but it also reads well on a small screen. Like, I just love that someone did this, and also the fact that it's completely made of snark is wonderful.
That's amazing. What's the point of the website? Just to
a
rant about
Web3.
Cool.
So on the bottom right there is a thing called the grift meter, and it's just a counter of, and it's got like a little burning animation like atop it that it's just currently it reads $72.896 billion.
Oof.
And I think it's just like the money that's been poured onto the fire of crypto. So it's just, it's so the whole thing is like, it is a blog, so it's different articles, but it's all about so one I've just picked out of a hat here. Avi Einsberg convicted of $110 million Mango Markets heist. And then Roger Stone endorses Strump meme coin with misleading posts. So it's just all about like shit grifting.
Gotcha.
In the name of Web3.
Yeah.
I'm so down. Yeah. So, why did that happen? Oh, you were talking about the metaverse. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the downfall of humanity and
Yeah.
not working because I am supposed to get an Apple Vision Pro now. No, I don't know. I don't think so. I was just talking with Margaret the other day about that, and it's like I don't have any interest in that. I'm not.
Why? So why did you say I'm supposed to? Just because consumerism?
Yeah. It's like, oh no, I have to. I have to do it for my work. Yeah, just I mean, I definitely used to, old me was like all about all the new tech coming out all the time, and I was so excited about it all. And then
That tech life.
Eventually, it got to the point where I was like, oh wait,
I don't care.
It's not even that I don't care. It's like, oh, this is scary. Y'all took it too far. I wanted you to take it really far before, but now that you have taken it really far, it's like, no, I think too far.
Too far. Oh no.
I mean, like, I want to play Beat Saber, but like, that's it. Like that's the line. That's perfect. That's a perfect game. And then stop.
Get yourself a MetaQuest.
I'm not gonna
save yourself thousands.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do. I don't. Yeah, I don't want anything from Meta. I definitely. I don't really want anything more from Apple. I'm gonna try and make my 2019 MacBook Pro last me as long as possible. Is it really 2019? I think so. Man, this is like the last. I think it was either the last or the second to last Intel MacBook Pro, and it really went downhill quick. Like as soon as the first M1s came out, I was like, this thing is so hot and so loud. It was awful. But then the craziest thing in the world happened. They released a software update that made it better. It actually improved with the software update. It got cooler.
Yeah.
It stopped running so hot. It was more efficient. It's moving faster. And I'm just like, what? How? That never happens. It always gets worse. Wait, software updates make things worse, right? That's the way they work.
Yeah, sure. I'm living that Apple Silicon life, and it is night and day. It is night and day. I'm very, very pleased. But yeah, like. You and I think most of the market we're in this point now where it's like this is the tricky thing as well actually with what Apple's done with their Apple Silicon is like it's actually really hard to justify getting that high end machine for most people because you can get away with in inverted commas a low end MacBook Air and you will be set.
Yeah, I really want the 15-inch MacBook Air. That's really what I want. I think that would blow my Pro out of the water now.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, it will. But yeah, the story of the Vision Pro is just like it seems to be a bit of. There's a few at the moment, just like farts. They're just that was a big loud one and a big long one, but then there's a couple of shorter farts that have come out with like the AI pin, as Humane would have it, and the Rabbit R1, which is this tiny little device that looks like a Panic, like their games console, which again is just like watching someone use it in their hand. Like you hold it in your hand and you go, that looks cool. Then the moment someone actually uses it, you go, this is the wrong form factor for everything. Like It's just so weird. It's not a phone. That's not a phone form factor that kind of makes sense in the hand. It's just this weird square that you just pick a side and talk into. Like, get rid of the screen and make it a pen or something. Like, like at least it looks like it just looks weird. It's weird. And that's not lighting the world on fire.
Yeah. I like Marquise Brownlee's like title is just like not reviewable. Something like that.
I haven't watched it. I started watching the AI pin one, and then I was like, oh no,
I watched that one. That was fascinating. Just kind of like, what the fuck?
I listened to all the discourse about it, but I haven't actually watched his video. Yeah, and that was a whole fascinating thing. Like, oh no, you're not allowed to give tech bad reviews.
Yeah, and there was also
Strange.
complaints about because he made like a response video to him giving bad reviews and it killing companies. And it's just like no,
that's his responsibility.
Yeah, that's his job. Yeah.
Speaking of tech, though, I last week I finished the Dropout, which is a series available on Disney Plus.
Okay,
and it might be on FX for you. I'm not sure. It's a weird way Disney works, but anyway, it's the story of Elizabeth Holmes and the whole Theranos scandal. And that's a whole thing. Speaking of tech, like that was a whole thing. Completely passed us by, or mostly passed us by here in the UK. But I heard about it through the odd podcast, and then you watch the thing, and it's like, wow, that was Jesus.
I know. Yeah, I remember hearing about that on a few different podcasts, and yeah, wow.
And it's how much damage. I mean, I don't even like saying these words because it doesn't feel. It's not fair at all. But like how much damage she did for the idea of female tech CEOs,
right? Yeah.
Like I don't like those words in my mouth because it's like the idea of female tech CEOs should not be a thing.
Yeah, agreed.
That it should just be whatever. But the fact that was a thing that could then be, I think without any spoilers, like one of the captions that came up right at the end is like, it is still notably hard for female CEOs to get funding, and one woman was even advised to dye her hair so that she didn't look like Elizabeth Holmes. Yeah. Whereas, like, pretty sure and this thought didn't occur to me at the time, but like right now it does. Like, pretty sure most tech bros look exactly the
same. Yeah. Oh my God.
Pretty sure they're all brown haired, and you've got the ones that have the beards, and then you've got the other ones, and that's it. And they're all slim or thin. And yet, no, you mustn't. You must have different hair color because you'll look too much like this one other woman. The one other woman that went high profile. Ugh.
Well, at least Zuckerberg looks like Data from Star Trek. So he's going for the super pale kind of orangish.
Oh God, yeah.
Whatever.
Androgynous android. We should bring back Marissa Myers. I think it was Marissa Myers.
Yeah, Marissa. Mm-hmm.
Who was the Yahoo person. Just because I could listen to her laugh all day. She just has one of those, like, I think some people find it annoying. I find it completely charming.
Nice.
It might be worth. I think let's see if I can find, because it will be one to drop in, perhaps.
So what do you do all day? And
speaking of delightful laughs, I really liked Anya's episode on List Envy. That was really
yeah,
that was a delight.
She's always good value.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a fun episode.
It was. I have not watched any Korean rom-coms, so
no,
that was.
But now you have some recommendations.
Now I have a bunch of recommendations. Yeah, although I'm trying to get off TV as much as possible. We're planning when in the future when we bring children into this dying world, this godforsaken place, its own technological doom. When we bring a child into that, we're going to try and keep screens away from it for as long as possible. Yes, it.
Yeah, I think. I don't have. I have not born children. Well, obviously,
that you know of.
I mean, we can definitely know that I haven't born children.
Yeah, same here.
I might have sired them, but no, I haven't. I could definitely be. Anyway, what I do know I think about child rearing is that so many people start with that like noble idea of no screens, and then they get to maybe 18 months and it's like, oh God, you know what? Just 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes in front of Peppa Pig and it'll all be fine.
Nope, I know exactly. I mean, I did it myself with Owen. Owen came over and he was sick, and he didn't want to do anything but watch Trash Truck, and I was like, all right, it's so easy to just turn on Netflix. But we watched it together, and we only watched a couple episodes and whatever. But yeah, the idea would be that not have stuff around.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to wean myself off. Well, speaking of technology, on the good side of technology, so Margaret just took a trip to North Carolina for 5 days and had a wonderful time, and sent me a whole bunch of photos of this delightful food that I couldn't have, like sourdough pancakes and biscuits the size of cat heads, and these hot sauces and pulled pork and other things that looked amazing. But I stayed at home and worked. And instead of commuting in my truck, I commuted in her Chevy Volt, the one that we got to replace her car that was T-boned. And God, it's such a nice car, dude. Oh, so the cool thing about this car is it's a plug-in hybrid. So it's and it has a substantial battery in it. So you plug it in, and when you're commuting, we get like 40 miles on electric alone. So all the commuting we do within the city is all on electric. And so like we've had the car on E in terms of gas for like weeks. We haven't filled it up because we haven't needed to, because it's just like, why get more gas and fill it up when we can just keep driving on electric? Anyways, so
can I ask a potentially silly question?
Please do.
On that regard, because my understanding is if you don't start a car for a while, it won't, because it just, the whatever things. Would that be the case? In my mind, I'm like, it's because you've almost got two different, it's two different cars in one, effectively. Yeah. So would that rule apply?
I believe so. We do, like, the reason why we got the Volt is that it's not fully electric, so that we can use the gas, because we do use the gas. We do use that extended range occasionally, but it would be, it'd be like 6 months or more before we probably even need to worry about something like that. Probably longer. And we're definitely going to hit, a usage of the gasoline before that period. Like, I just used it it was a couple weeks ago, but it was like, it kicks in occasionally. And
it's the kind of thing where you could always just run it for a little bit just so that it...
Yeah. And there's different modes you can switch to. And that was going to be one of the next things I was going to get to, is that, so it starts off in just normal mode, where it uses the electric battery first, and then it switches over to gasoline when you need it. And it's like it's got kid gloves on. It's kind of just like softly accelerates it. We put it into a gear that regenerates battery when you're braking, and it's just very kind of gentle. But then if you hit the mode button twice, you put into sport mode. And then this is more like, okay, here's the function of the electric car. Here is what you can actually do with instant torque. And it is a delight to get onto the freeway. It is just like, there's that one section of like, where you've got, a quarter mile or whatever from the intersection to when you're actually on the freeway, and you can just go, because there's nobody ever there. Nobody's just hanging out there, unless there's a lot of traffic. Too bad, but usually it's just empty, and you got to get up to speed with everybody else anyway. So you're just going from 0 to 60, 70 miles an hour in 8 seconds or 10 seconds or whatever. and in sport mode, when you floor it, you go back and you just it had that wonderful feeling of just like power, just and so I've been doing that the past week, and it has been a delight. And it's got heated seats, heated steering wheel. The sound system is so good in this car. It is the deep, full bass, and like CarPlay works pretty well. Yeah, I love this car. I'm so happy to have done. I did a ton of research after we got hit, just to because I knew I wanted an electric car. I knew Margaret still wanted to have the flexibility and range of gas, so I was looking at all these hybrids, and yeah, I'm super happy with our choice of the Volt.
That's making me want to get back on my bike.
How's that been?
Because I haven't been on it, because I took it out for a spin a couple of weeks ago when I went to my usual breakfast / brunch place. But I was still a little bit. So I need to go somewhere where I can like kind of let loose and just have fun, and not be worried about people and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and kind of let it rip.
Yeah, are there any like big parks nearby with bike trails on them?
Oh yeah, I mean, well, there are parks. They're not necessarily big parks, but there are parks around. And the route that I want to go on does have a decent park, but also the actual route in and of itself is lovely. It's pastoral, and I wanted us to walk that route, but the day we were going to do it, it was horrible. We had horrible weather, so we ended up, doing cinemas and stuff. But I wanted us to go and walk into that. The place that I'm talking about, because that's just a really, really lovely route, and you've got bodies of water and stuff. And I was chatting to Ariel Nissenblatt, she of podcast fame, a couple of days ago. We did a list MV. I finished that one, and I just went, that was textbook. Like just like, I don't know, like it's hard to describe. Just like, that was just like hit all the notes, and it was just like bam, good. And we both, it turns out, I was kind of getting into a little bit of typing, it's sort of enneagramming. I was kind of wondering, but like, she is a big body of water person and a big kind of nature person in a way that I know I am, and I suspect you may be as well. And I think we may have talked about this. Especially for those that are given towards the more empathetic bent, there tends to be a more of an emphasis on nature and stuff. And bodies of water being like, I sort of hadn't really clocked, but when I was cycling around this little pond, I was like, I'm so happy. And it's clearly because I was cycling around a body of water. I like it. When you're driving, what kind of scenery do you like to see out the window?
When I'm driving, I don't know, but I laughed because there's this section, and I'll drive you on it when you're here. There's this section between the area I live in, Southeast Portland, and like the east side of Portland, which is close to downtown. But it's like going from the suburbs to the city, more or less, where it's like a pretty long straightaway of about a mile, and there's some nice, I think they're oak trees, or it's like obviously planted equidistant apart, probably 30 years ago or whatever, and 50 years ago probably. And I don't know, it's just like a nice section through the different seasons. You see it, flower up and come down. The trees are like kind of overshadow, reaching over the street, and so you just kind of like going through this tunnel of trees. And I laugh because I mentioned that to Margaret once. I'm like, oh, this is like my favorite section. This is my favorite road section of Portland, and she's just like, this is it. That just these trees, just this little bit of nature this is your favorite. And I meant it more like it's my favorite stretch of road within the city. But once she kind of said, I was like, oh yeah, I mean, yeah, like going to like Forest Park or something like that's going to be like way better. But I like bridges and water. That's my favorite. I like going over a bridge and just being like looking both ways, and it's like, oh, so pretty. Well, I probably actually, it's kind of a love-hate relationship. There's a freeway here, I-84, that goes along the gorge of Portland. So it's the Columbia River Gorge. It's a big, huge river, and high mountains and hills, and you go through tree sections, you go through desert sections, and I like being able to drive fast, put on cruise control, and not have to worry about the speed I'm going, and I can just steer and look around. But at the same time, there's something about it that's really exhausting. I think partially because it's like, I know it's a long way from it, like to it's going to be a long time before I get where my destination. So it's like, all right, buckle in because we're in for it.
We're going to be looking at this for a while.
Yeah, exactly. The drive out to the Gorge Amphitheater, which is like a 5.5 hour drive, is one filled with excitement. And it's mostly excitement. I love going out there, and the best venue in the world, and just it's a long trip, 5.5 hours of driving. I usually just go straight, and it's just like, whew, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah, we're wrapping up, but I do want to tell you about this NFT museum because I don't really have a lot to say about it.
Oh yeah.
So when I went to Seattle to go see Andrew Bayer at Oma's Lounge, and it was fantastic. I parked in downtown Seattle. I happened to park right in front of this building. It was like a small skyscraper. It had like businesses on the base level, and one of them was like this gallery looking area, and
it's like a vertical mullet. So businesses on the bottom level, parties others on the
yeah. And all the there's like big glass windows from the ground up to like 10 or 12 feet or whatever, and they're all blacked out. Like from the inside, they're like boarded and painted black or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's a big black building, whatever, interesting. And I walk by the door, and I see it says like, just in like printing on stickered onto the door, it says NFT Museum. And I'm like, NFT isn't like the digital what's-its, like the...
Yeah, isn't that the thing with the Bored Apes and the
so the doors are not boarded up. They're just glass, and you can see through them, but there's no lights on, and all the windows are boarded up, so there's no light in it. So they also look black. So everything is just dark. And I'm just like, okay. So what do I think is in there? Because like NFTs are just a digital thing, right? It's just, so maybe there's just like, they just turn off the museum.
It's also
there's a bunch of
not
computers.
Even the thing. Like if we talk about like these images and stuff, it's not even the image,
right?
It's a certificate of authenticity for the image.
Yeah.
So because the image usually is attached to the thing as like a link,
right, or
something like that. Like the NFT itself is just a token that says this is the only one that we made.
Yeah,
it's not actually even a digital. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What I mean, there's a reason it's boarded up.
I was thinking like, okay, either it's just empty and because it's there's actually nothing to put in there, or maybe it's a bunch of computers and the screens are off because it's closed, and then they, you know, when it's open, you get to walk in and see a bunch of loot, like it's just a bunch of like digital collections of, well, I guess paperwork, you know. Oh my god, yeah, it was just so. So I didn't go at the right time. You know, they weren't open.
Sure, yeah, that's the reason.
I'll have to go back, but I just thought that was really hilarious.
Web3 is going great.
And as always, correct me if I'm wrong.
I think I've got my boom arm the right way up for the first time.
Oh, was it up? Was it wrong way to up?
I think it was always the other the mic itself was always the other way around, coming upwards, and I think this is the correct orientation.
And you've swapped your guitars. Now you're reverberating.
I have, and
guitar.
I've got a hole for one, and it makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually got a hole for the sound hole, or I've got a cover for the sound hole that's actually in the guitar right now.
Yeah,
It does make a difference.
it does make a difference. I feel like I can hear the difference.